What's going on YouTube, Gen X? Like I said before, there's no conversation that I've had on the internet that I haven't had in person or still continue to have. And for me, I can't stress stress and highlight to other black men. You can't be afraid to speak up and and say what's on your mind, regardless of how many women are in the room, right? As long as you're not respectful and you can back up what you say, talk, talk. If people want to get mad, people want to feel a certain way, it's irrelevant at this point. Because honestly, when you bottle stuff in, that's when stuff comes out inappropriately. Um, Over the weekend, I went to the board meeting of an organization that I'm trying to partner with. So I'm trying to uh, work together. The organization that I'm with, we're trying to partner with this organization. So I went to one of their board meetings to kind of talk to them and, just get a vibe for what they're about and, explain to them what we're about and answer any questions and whatnot. And we had, the board meeting was at a restaurant. So, we went through the meeting and everything like that. Then we ate. Okay, people weren't in a rush to leave, so we ate. And it was me, two of the guys, and like 7 women. Okay, black women. Um, we were talking about what came up. Oh, so what's everybody gonna do for the weekend? And somebody said they were trying to go see Colored Girls. Um, and then the whole Tyler Perry thing came up, and they had asked if we wanted to see it, and we're like, nah, I'm cool. And they said, why? And I said, Tyler Perry is a black male basher. And the other 2 dudes, they were like, oh, this dude's opened up a can of worms. And, you can tell that the women were like, oh, we're about to get in this nigga's ass right now. Going back to the whole, we have the numbers and they don't. So simply, giving them those looks of disapproval, we're going to win and we're going to shut them down. And I was like, no, he's a black male basher. He doesn't know how to advocate for black women without putting black men down. Um, and then once I put that out there, they're like, oh, this, that, and the third, how, why. So then we went over his movies and even other movies that are Tyler Perry-ish. And we talked about how um, the movie starts off where the black man's the villain and there is no why. But let a black woman be flecked up and you get the whole picture, right? Everybody who's ever failed her or let her down comes into play. But when it comes to black men being fucked up or doing something inappropriate, that's just how they are. And I said that's not helpful. You can't paint a group of men to be the villain and then expect for them to be the hero. You just can't. And, Tyler Perry is notorious for attacking black men across all levels. If you don't necessarily have, if you're this sort of blue collar or struggling black man, you're this villain because you don't like your life and you take out your anger and your frustration on your family and your loved ones. If you're a well-to-do sort of, accomplished black man, you're this arrogant, conceited, conditioned, I'm going to leave you for the white girl sort of man. So just across the board, he attacks the whole spectrum of black men. Simply put, he attacks the whole spectrum. He makes every category and subcategory of black men into some sort of villain. Simply put. And there's never any sort of getting a richer experience out of his black male characters. It's simple, one-dimensional. Okay, he's, going to somehow fail her, or he has some hang-up with commitment, or something along those lines. Or if he does try, you get the whole superhero, well-to-do, there's nothing wrong with me sort of black man, which is also irrelevant. No one is asking for any sort of black male roles where we're portrayed as these superheroes who can do no wrong. Just be real. Bring some depth to a character, right? It's not about people wanting to only see the heroes. We just like when there's a background to why this person is the way they are, whether they're bad or good. You don't really get that, right? And I said that I know it's just entertainment, but the problem is black women, y'all watch his movies and movies like the ones he makes, and you leave as if it's the gospel truth, right? It's not like you're watching Jurassic Park and when the movie's over, there's no dinosaurs, right? But, black women leave the movie as if this is the narrative of their life, right? And they run off and they have these love-hate relationships with black men where it's like, they're the enemy, I have to somehow overcome them, right? But then I'm upset because they're not choosing us. I'm upset because they're going off and they're, choosing other women, or they have a negative disposition towards me. And this goes back to, what's promoted. It makes no sense how black women or Tyler Perry create this idea that their biggest challenge in life is overcoming black men, right? And that black men are going to hold you down and they're going to do something to limit your progress, only to then complain when those men aren't there for you. When it's just like, well, cool, if you feel like I'm your enemy, if you feel like you have to overcome me, let me do my own thing. Only to complain when we reach that point. The fact remains that it's personal choice. The women are choosing to be with these men. Black women have the most freedom in terms of who they choose to date. Other cultures, they have strict guidelines in regards to who's dateable. Even when they're younger, there's always rules and regulations to what you can do and what you can't do. Black women have absolute freedom, right? There is no one coming over saying, you can't date this person. Unless it's, the black women who are coming from the two-parent homes. But even then, we don't necessarily teach our daughters how to date properly. So there's complete freedom, but that never gets talked about. The way black women portray it in the Tyler Perrys of the world, it's like we're Indian and we're Middle Eastern, and our parents are arranging these marriages and these relationships with these crooked, villain-like black men. So she had no choice to be with this guy who beats her, or she had no choice to be with this guy who doesn't have a job, or he had no choice to be with this dude, who's doing well, but he's like this control freak. Come on now, you have a choice. You have a choice. Let a black man, make a poor mistake. No one's gonna feel sorry for him, men or women, because you have a choice. No one forced you to be with that person. So I hit them with all that. They had nothing to say. It was one of those, damn, I really can't disagree with you. I just really can't. And then I delivered the KO when I was just like, listen, there's only a handful of movies that portray black men in a decent, realistic manner. I started off with Antoine Fisher. And I talked about how in that movie it was about uplifting a black male, but it wasn't at the expense of black women. See, his stepmom or his foster mom, verbally abused him, and I think she hit him. And then the other lady, I forgot who she was, but she was molesting him, right? But he didn't have this fuck you black woman sort of disposition. It was actually another black woman that helped him out. What was her name? Joy Bryant, right? Who showed him how to love, and she didn't treat him in a certain way, and she understood his, where he came from. So in that way, black women weren't thrown under the bus. They weren't. They were actually uplifted. They were shown as a sort of resource for black men to help them out, which is a good thing. That's why I enjoyed the movie, right? And they did a great job of separating a parent failing you versus somebody you're with failing you. See, the father not being there somehow gets translated over to men across the board. Your parent failed you. That is a parent thing, not necessarily a relationship thing. And, I highlight that movie because they got that. He didn't take what happened to him as a child in terms of his parental units and say this is all black women. All black women are fucked up. There was that separation, right? But there is no separation. Once a black man fails you, it doesn't matter if it's your boyfriend, your father, whoever. It's black men across the board. Um, I got into other movies as well. Movies like Boyz II Men, okay? Boyz II Men, excuse me, Boys in the Hood. A great movie about the what's going on with black men as youth and growing up and the importance of having a father, and how many black men, have fallen off because of the women. See, Boys in the Hood, they didn't do all that. They didn't have to throw black women under the bus to make their point or to deliver their story, right? It was actually, Neil Long that was that kind of safety net for, Trey, Cuba, getting Junior, right? But in real life, what's going on? A lot of the men who are getting shot and killed on that Boys in the Hood tip, it's being reinforced by the women. They do like it. But in that very movie, they were like, nah, we're not going to throw black women under the bus. Right? They could have easily talked about how some character got shot and, he was trying to, be macho and masculine because that's what is going on in the quote-unquote hood. But they didn't do all that. So they knew how to advocate for black men or tell the story about black men without throwing black women under the bus. Right? Simply put. Even a movie like, I'm sure most of you guys have seen it, The Brothers with Morris and Shaman and Bill Bellamy. What was that movie about? Black men and commitment, for the most part, right? But in the movie, it wasn't about what black women were doing, right, to make black men not have, or to create this idea of a commitment issue. They were on point. They were the ones who were ready for love. They were ready for these big-time commitments. It was black men, right, who didn't have their shit together. So once again, they talked about, I guess, black men overcoming some sort of commitment issue, but they didn't have to throw black women under the bus to the point where it's almost, I guess, equally as damaging, because how many black men have commitment issues because of what has happened to them by other black women? That never gets brought up, right? Never gets brought up. And I can keep going. Not to say that there's a whole boatload of movies that portray black men in a positive manner or even just give you a complete comprehensive story on who they are, right? But even the ones that we do have, you never really see it. You never really see black women being put down. You never really see them trying to uplift black men or tell the narrative of black men at the expense of black women, right? And you completely throw out the role that black women play in terms of where black men are currently. And that, once I put all that out there, it was a wrap. They really had nothing to say, because it wasn't a debate. Really, it wasn't a debate. He's a black male basher, and he is part of that whole, control the emotions of black women and you make money off of them, because they eat it up. They don't know how to separate reality from movies. Right? According to them, this is the gospel truth. This is the narrative of their lives. Right? Y'all not leaving the movie on some like, oh, that was a cool movie. Wow. That was a window into the lives of black women. Right? Where black men are the villains and they're going to hold you down and they're going to mistreat you only for y'all to turn around and then say, where are we? How come we're not coming to the rescue when the same men that you're deeming as the hero or the ones that should be the hero, you have already said they're the villains. You already said they're the villain. Like I said before, black men have been attacked across the board. It doesn't matter if you're down and out. It doesn't matter if you're well-to-do. It doesn't matter, if you have X, Y, and Z going on. You've already been attacked. You've already been shown as this person that's going to hold down black women and, stop her from, becoming that beautiful flower, that beautiful rose, that blossoming rose. You've already stopped her. And all of a sudden, you're supposed to be the hero. Right? All of a sudden, you don't have personal choice. All of a sudden, you were set up in this arranged sort of relationship with this bum-ass dude. It's complete bullshit. So like I said before, men, you have to speak your mind up. It doesn't matter if it's only you and 10 black women. I don't care what the ratio is. As long as you're respectful and you can back up what you say, you have to engage these women because, quite frankly, they have nothing to say. They have nothing to say. When we were done, we just had to move on to a new topic. Because that was already, signed, sealed, and delivered. So y'all take it easy. God bless.